My name is Jake, and for most of my childhood I believed our family home belonged to all of us. It was an old two-story house on a quiet street, the kind of place with a cracked driveway, a huge backyard and a kitchen, where my mother had cooked thousands of meals. My father had bought it when I was 6, and I had spent almost my entire life there. But when I turned 18, everything changed. My parents told me I needed to leave. "You're an adult now," my father said. I remember standing in the hallway, with 2 bags in my hands staring at the family, photographs on the wall. My younger brother Daniel was 21 at the time. He was still living at home. Nobody asked him to leave. Nobody told him to become independent. Instead, my mother hugged him while my father helped me carry my bags outside. I rented a tiny apartment and started working 2 jobs. I rarely called home because every conversation reminded me that I wasn't really part of the family anymore. Years passed. I built a life for myself. I worked hard, saved money, and eventually started my own small construction company. Then one afternoon I received an invitation. Daniel was getting married. The wedding was going to cost nearly $50,000. I almost threw the invitation away. Then my grandmother called. "Jake, you need to come," she said. "I don't think they want me there." "They do." "Now," she replied, "and if they don't, they'll have to explain themselves to me." So I went. The wedding was held at an expensive hotel. There were hundreds of guest crystal decorations, live music, and a giant screen showing photographs of Daniel growing up. I watched silently. Then came the speeches. My father stood on stage with tears in his eyes. Today, he announced, we are giving Daniel something more valuable than money. We are giving him the family home. The room erupted in applause. I froze. The family home? The house I had grown up in. The house where my childhood bedroom still existed. The house I had been forced to leave at 18. Daniel hugged my parents while everyone celebrated. Nobody looked at me. Then my mother finally noticed me. She walked over, smiled, and whispered, "Please don't embarrass us today." I smiled back. "Don't worry, Mom, I won't." She walked away relieved, but she had no idea what I had brought with me. I didn't come to the wedding empty-handed, and before the night was over, everyone was going to learn something my family had forgotten. I had never stopped fighting for that house, the gift they never expected. After my mother walked away, I stayed seated. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I didn't tell anyone that the house had once been my entire world. Instead, I waited. When dinner ended, my grandmother came over and sat beside me. "Are you okay?" "I am now," I said. She looked confused. "Why?" I reached into my jacket and handed her a folder. She opened it. Her eyes widened. "What is this?" "Read the first page." She did. Then she looked at me. "Jake, where did you get this?" "I didn't get it, I bought it. Years earlier, when my parents forced me out, I had discovered something they never knew. My father had fallen behind on the mortgage payments. The bank was preparing to take the house. I had quietly used nearly all of my savings to help pay the debt. My parents promised they would repay me. They never did. Instead, I kept paying the remaining balance myself through an agreement with the lender. Eventually, the mortgage was cleared. The final legal documents showed that I had a financial ownership, interest in the property. I had never told my parents. I didn't want their gratitude. I wanted peace. My grandmother stared at the papers. "So the house isn't entirely theirs?" "No." "Then why didn't you say something?" "Because I wanted to know whether they loved their son or simply loved what he could give them." She hugged me. A few minutes later, my father approached. "Jake, your grandmother said you have something." I handed him the folder. He read the documents. His face changed. "This can't be right." "It is." My mother came over. "What is happening?" My father handed her the papers. She read them. Her hands began to shake. Daniel joined them. "What's wrong?" My mother looked at him. "The house?" She couldn't finish. I stood up. "I didn't come here to take anything from Daniel." Everyone became silent. "I came because I wanted to see whether my family would remember me without needing something from me." My father lowered his eyes. "I was wrong," he whispered. I shook my head. "You weren't wrong once. You made a choice for years." My mother began crying. Daniel looked at me. "Jake, I never knew." "I know." Then I surprised everyone. I gave Daniel another envelope. Inside was a legal agreement. I had decided to transfer my remaining ownership rights to him, but only if he promised one thing. The house could never be sold without a portion of the proceeds being donated to a charity helping young adults who had been forced out of their homes. Daniel signed it. My father hugged me. For the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I simply felt free. I walked out of the wedding that night without taking revenge. I had something better. I had finally stopped needing my family to admit that I deserved a place at their table, and as I drove away, I realized the house had never really been the thing I was fighting for. I was fighting for the little boy who had once believed he belonged there. That night, I finally gave him his freedom.